The 2026 Assam Assembly Elections are approaching, and this time also, the constituency that is getting the most attention is Jorhat. Why? Because for the first time, Gaurav Gogoi, who is the deputy leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, as well as the president of the Assam Pradesh Congress Committee, is contesting the state assembly elections for the first time. Now we must remember that he is the son of the longest serving chief minister of Assam, late Mr. Gaurav Gogoi. And who is his opponent? His opponent is also a veteran BJP leader Hitendra Nath Goswami, who has won Jorhat 5 times. He is also the former cabinet minister and also the former speaker of the Assam Assembly. And since Jorhat is my hometown, this is also a bit personal to me. So we'll try to analyze why Jorhat is considered as a prestigious seat. What is the demographics and dynamics of the constituency? Why did Gaurav Gogoi choose to fight from Jorhat in the 2024 elections? And finally, we'll try to understand the top 5 factors that might help Gaurav Gogoi to win. And similarly, we will also see 5 factors that might help Hitendra Goswami to win. Let's get started. See, the significance of Jorhat is rooted in its status as the final sovereign center of the Ahom kingdom. And we all know the significance of the Ahom kingdom in Assam's history. So we won't get into much details, but what happened was that in 1794, King Gaurinath Singha took the decision of shifting the Ahom capital from Rangpur to Jorhat. And Jorhat started thriving from there. But again, when the Burmese invasions happened in 1817 and 1824, it suffered almost total collapse. And then when the Britishers again came, it started an era of reconstruction, but it also marked the end of the Ahom sovereignty. And under the British rule, what happened was that Jorhat transformed into this global tea nodal hub. And the legacy of that period is even visible today in institutions like the Toklai Tea Research Center. And gradually, Jorhat started to be known as the cultural capital of Assam. Institutions like the Chandrakanta Khondikoi Bhavan, which is the headquarters of the Ahom Sahitya Sabha, which is the guardian organization of the Assamese language and culture. Even the first Assamese daily newspaper, the Doinik Batori, was published from Jorhat in the year 1935 by Shiva Prasad Barua. Now let's come to the main subject. The first elections that happened in Jorhat post-independence was in the year 1952. From then on, you can say the constituency has transitioned through several distinct political phases. There has been the Assamese middle class, the influential tea garden workforce, and the indigenous ethnic communities. And like most other places, the politics of Jorhat was also dominated by the Indian National Congress. So slowly but steadily, there were some challenges by some independent voices. But eventually what happened was a regionalistic surge and the rise of the Ahom Gana Parishad in the 1980s. And it was during this period when Gaurav Gogoi's current opponent Hitendra Nath Goswami's political consciousness was forged during the Assam movement against illegal immigration of the late 70s and 80s. Mr. Goswami was even booked under NSA and thrown into the Tihar jail. And it was only in the year 1991 when he won, and that winning created a regionalistic sentiment. A regionalistic sentiment that ran throughout Assam and continued to almost 2014 until the BJP started its saffronization. But why is Gaurav Gogoi choosing to contest from Jorhat? For that, we need to understand why did Gaurav Gogoi choose to contest from Jorhat in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. See, the primary catalyst for Gaurav Gogoi's shift to Jorhat was the 2023 delimitation of parliamentary and assembly constituency. And this exercise, conducted by the Election Commission of India using the 2001 census data, was the first of its kind in the state since 1976. And this redrawing of boundaries was met with fierce opposition from the Congress and other regional parties, who alleged that the process was designed to consolidate the BJP's power while marginalizing the opposition-leaning demographics. So Gaurav Gogoi's former constituency Koliabor, which he had represented since 2014, was essentially abolished and it was renamed as Kaziranga. And this new Kaziranga constituency was geographically and demographically altered to such an extent that it became much more challenging terrain for Congress. Because several Muslim majority areas were cut out and merged into neighboring seats like Nagaon and Borpeta, And this maneuver was seen by the Congress as a strategic move to split the anti-BJP vote and weaken the Congress's overall prospect. In fact, Gaurav Gogoi was arguing that the Election Commission of India was overlooking the Supreme Court of India and was specifically targeting seats that the Congress had performed well in the year 2019. They were trying to break the Congress's demographic hegemony. That was the accusation by Gaurav Gogoi. So when left without his traditional voting base, Gaurav was forced to look for a new seat. And Jorhat, with its traditional roots and historical ties to his family, was the most viable and prestigious option. So this decision was both a tactical necessity and a symbolic homecoming, because Jorhat is the ancestral home of the Gogoi family, and the memory of Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi is deeply etched into the region's political consciousness. Tarun Gogoi had represented Jorhat in the Lok Sabha thrice starting in 1971 and was also the MLA of the Titapur Assembly segment for 2 decades. Moreover, the Ahom community to which the Gogois belong makes up almost 32% of the voters of the constituency. Now we must remember that Gaurav Gogoi had won decisively from Jorhat in the Lok Sabha polls of 2024. For him, fighting from Jorhat was a masterstroke that turned a political catastrophe, that was the loss of his home seat due to delimitation, into a transformative victory that revitalized his party. By tapping into this indigenous identity and the Ahom legacy, he has managed to establish a new center of gravity for the opposition in Assam. But things are not the same like the Lok Sabha polls of 2024. A lot have changed. And before we get into that, let's see the demographics and dynamics of the Jorhat constituency. So Jorhat is effectively divided into the urban municipality, the semi-urban periphery, and the rural and tea garden belts. The Jorhat municipality board area, which has a population exceeding almost 1.26 lakhs, has one of the highest literacy rates of Assam with over 91%. And these urban voters are highly sensitive to issues of governance, infrastructure, and national identity. But conversely, the rural belts and the tea gardens are driven by economic welfare, tribal identity. And this tea tribe factor is particularly crucial, because while the Congress traditionally held this vote bank, the BJP's extreme welfare, including the Arunodaya schemes and infrastructure push, have made it a competitive battleground. The linguistic landscape is predominantly Assamese, but the presence of Bengali and Hindi speakers in the urban core adds a layer of complexity to the identity discourse. So now that we have some basic idea of the demography and the dynamics of the constituency, let's look into the top 5 reasons that might help Gaurav Gogoi win this election. The number 1 reason is that he is carrying a momentum from the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. You see, Gogoi is riding high on his recent electoral success. And like we already discussed, he had won Jorhat Lok Sabha handsomely against the BJP. And this victory proved that he has local popularity, and it established a solid foundation of voters that will be definitely helpful for him in the assembly elections. The second factor is that he is projected as this chief ministerial candidate. The Congress and its regional alliance partners like Raizor Dol and Ahom Jatiya Porishad have positioned Gogoi as the CM candidate for the opposition bloc. And in most cases, constituencies often lean towards the candidate who have a shot at the top job because they anticipate better development and more political focus for their area. The third factor is the legacy of Tarun Gogoi. See, Jorhat holds a deep historical and emotional significance for the Gogoi family. Because like we already discussed, his father, Assam's longest serving chief minister, late Tarun Gogoi, began his political career here. His legacy carries immense weight and commands loyalty from traditional voters all across Upper Assam that cuts across lines of caste and religion. The fourth factor is the consolidated opposition unity. See, unlike past elections where the votes were fractured, Congress has managed to pull together a united front, the Ahom Honmilito Morcha, with key regional players, and having leaders like Akhil Gogoi, Lurinjyoti Gogoi backing him helps him to consolidate the anti-incumbency vote under one umbrella. And the final reason is the youth appeal and the Ahom representation. As a relatively young, intelligent and articulate leader with excellent communication skills of English and Hindi, Gogoi appeals to the young voters who are looking for a generational shift in the state politics. And his focus on cleaning Assam politics resonates with the youth who are seeking for fresh leadership. Moreover, his Ahom identity would also have a positive impact in any Upper Assam constituency. One small thing before we continue, if you're liking this content and finding it interesting enough, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to us. Now that we have heard this, let's look into the other side of the spectrum. Let's look into the factors that might go against Gaurav Gogoi, that might help Hitendra Goswami to win the elections. See, the first reason is that Hitendra Goswami is a veteran leader. He has won the constituency 5 times. He is a former minister, a former assembly speaker, and an experienced politician with a very clean image. So his decades-long grassroots connections and familiarity make him incredibly tough to unseat. The second reason is the BJP's performance and the welfare machinery. The ruling BJP, led by CM Himanta Biswa Sarma, has done significant developments to infrastructure. It has also provided clean employments to lakhs of youth. It has successfully implemented massive direct benefit transfer schemes like Arunodaya and has created a pool of loyal voters who would be very difficult to swing. The third factor would be the deep fractures within the Congress party. Congress has faced massive defections just ahead of the polls, with some of its top leaders like Bhupen Bora and Pradyut Bordoloi abandoning the party and joining the BJP just before the elections. This has seriously dented the overall credibility of the Congress party and has raised questions over the leadership skills of Gaurav Gogoi. The fourth reason is the MLA and MP confusion. You see, Gaurav Gogoi is still a sitting MP. So for him, the equation is not very simple like winning or losing. Because if Gaurav Gogoi wins Jorhat, but Congress fails to form the government, then it is unlikely that he will be continuing as an MLA, but he would return to be an MP. So in that case, the votes will be wasted. So not only Gaurav Gogoi has to win Jorhat, but Congress has to form the government if he has to retain the seat. Since Jorhat has a large chunk of intelligent and conscious voters, this factor will always be in their minds when they are casting the vote. Finally, the fact that Gaurav Gogoi could spend little time in Jorhat after his Lok Sabha polls would always be in the minds of the people. As Gaurav Gogoi was not just a member of Lok Sabha but also the deputy leader of the opposition, he could spend little time in Jorhat in the past 2 years. So the general people of the constituency didn't get the opportunity to spend time with him, which is very essential for contesting state elections. So we can safely say that it's not going to be an easy job for any one of them. Both of them have their own set of opportunities. Both of them have their own set of challenges. They have started their election campaigns. They've been very respectful to each other. It has been a highlight of the elections this year actually in Assam that they have been very respectful towards each other. Only time will tell whom Jorhat chooses, and for that we have to wait till the 4th of May. Until then, you can just keep your fingers crossed. Thank you for watching.